there's a big difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Some people find peace in solitude, while others see it as a heavy burden. In a world that constantly tells us we need more of everything, more friends, more distractions, and more noise. But what happens when we're left with just ourselves? Does solitude bring clarity? Or does it amplify our deepest fears? What if loneliness isn't something to escape, but an invitation to something greater? Today, we're uncovering how solitude, when embraced the right way, can transform into inner strength, purpose, and a lasting sense of peace. If you're serious about your personal health, whether you want to stop suffering, get clear guidance on how to stop overthinking, or to be more present in life, now's the perfect time to subscribe to our channel. Like this video if you're ready to grow further as a person. Now, let's continue. Buddha once mentioned, if you sit alone, lie down alone, walk alone while practicing diligently, and manage to tame yourself, you should really enjoy living in the forest. These days, a lot of folks find living alone to be a bit daunting. Society often paints a picture of a successful, happy, and good life as one filled with people and material possessions. There's definitely a reason why so many spiritual practices and paths highlight the importance of living a life of solitude. You know, it's interesting how so many religious leaders felt the need to step away from the chaos of everyday life. They often sought out quiet places to find the freedom and answers they were searching for. Same goes for the Supreme Buddha. Before he became the Buddha, he was just a prince living in a palace, enjoying all the luxuries and pleasures life had to offer. Then he realized that giving in to these pleasures wouldn't really help him find what he was searching for. He left the palace and wandered through one forest after another, taking time to meditate and discover a sense of ultimate peace. Eckhart Tolle, in The Power of Now, speaks about how our suffering often comes from resisting the present moment. He explains that when we're alone, we tend to let our minds wander into either regrets about the past or fears about the past, or fears about the future. But true peace comes from embracing solitude as an opportunity to be fully present. Instead of seeing loneliness as something to escape, we can see it as a gateway to self-awareness. Tolle suggests a simple practice. The next time you're alone, sit quietly and focus on your breath. Observe your thoughts without attaching to them. Ask yourself, who is watching these thoughts? This practice helps us step out of the cycle of loneliness and into the deep stillness that exists beyond our mental chatter. Living alone can definitely have its perks when you embrace it, but for some folks, it can feel more like a curse. That's why many folks feel scared and anxious about living on their own. People often come to me and say, I'm feeling lonely. I live by myself, but I often find myself feeling really lonely and dealing with a lot of negative thoughts. What do you think I should do? So, this is what it feels like when loneliness becomes a real burden. Honestly, it really comes down to your mindset and how you make the most of this time. Let me share a little story with you. So, Prince Siddhartha, who later became the Buddha, decided to leave the palace and head out to the forest. So, he headed to the forest, but guess what? 5 monks were there waiting for him. So there were these 5 monks who were really supportive of Prince Siddhartha as he worked on his meditation before he had his big awakening. They thought the only path to freedom was through self-mortification, engaging in intense and tough meditations, which we refer to as Ilatan Yoga or self-mortification. Prince Siddhartha moved away from one extreme of indulging in sensual pleasures and found himself at the other extreme, where he focused on self-mortification. He spent 6 years diving into those tough meditations, but after a while, he figured out that living like that wasn't really doing him any good. He discovered a balanced approach, the way to live spiritually while also taking care of his material needs. Once he figured that out, he chose to start eating again to take care of his body. He grabbed his alms bowl and set out to ask for some food. The 5 monks, who were really counting on him, noticed this and felt let down. They figured he'd be back at the palace before long, living a regular life once more. So they chose to walk away from him. When Prince Siddhartha got back to the forest after the alms round, he noticed that everyone had already gone. He was all by himself now. In this quiet time, he discovered the ideal space to really concentrate on himself. He got the chance to really connect with himself, and one day he found a spot under the Bodhi tree where he experienced enlightenment. Eckhart Tolle also speaks about how solitude is a path to deeper consciousness. In A New Earth, he explains that our identification with our thoughts is what creates suffering. When we believe the voice in our head that says, "I am lonely, I am unloved," we reinforce that identity. But when we practice stillness, we begin to realize that we are not our thoughts. We are the awareness behind them. Solitude is a chance to meet yourself beyond the mental noise. Instead of seeking distractions, take time to simply sit and listen. Feel the silence as something alive rather than empty. Tolle describes this as presence, an awareness that is deeply fulfilling in itself. When you think about it, solitude can really be a blessing if you use it the right way, but it can definitely become a burden if you're not sure how to manage it. A lot of folks talk about feeling lonely. You know, I always say that when you're feeling lonely, your thoughts can create this energy inside you, and sometimes that energy can turn negative. So science tells us that energy can't be created or destroyed, right? If you've got some negative energy inside you, it's not something you can just get rid of easily. You can totally turn that negative energy into something positive. Hey, have you ever thought about how to turn loneliness into something good? The big reason folks often feel lonely is that they don't have a clear aim or goal in their lives. When people have a goal or something to aim for, it really helps with that feeling of loneliness. They've got something to focus on and engage with, which makes a big difference. One of Eckhart Tolle's core teachings is that our purpose isn't found in the past or future. It's always in the present. In The Power of Now, he explains that we often chase external things, relationships, success, validation, hoping they will make us feel whole. But true fulfillment comes when we stop seeking and simply allow ourselves to be. Loneliness fades when we realize that nothing is missing in this moment. The more we resist solitude, the more we suffer. But if we embrace it, we discover a peace that was there all along. This applies to both material and spiritual goals. But you know, no matter where someone comes from, it's important for everyone to have their own spiritual goals inside them. At some point in our lives, we all find ourselves alone, with no one else around. If we haven't worked on developing our spiritual qualities, we might find ourselves feeling lonely over and over, and that can create some negative energy. There are times when it might be a bit too late to fix that. Hey, you know what? The best move is to figure out how to turn that negative energy into something positive. You've got to have a goal or aim in mind for yourself to make that happen. Have you ever thought about what you should do in your life? Who do you think I should become? What qualities do you think I should focus on developing? There are always parts of yourself that you can work on. Whether it's addressing weaknesses or learning from mistakes. Working on those weaknesses and fixing them can really pay off over time. You'll find yourself becoming more successful, productive, happier, and at peace. As Tolle says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. When we do this, solitude becomes a place of growth rather than suffering. We learn to sit in stillness without running from ourselves. And in that space, we find peace, purpose, and a deep connection with life itself. At the heart of it all, solitude isn't something to be feared. It's an invitation to step away from the noise, to sit with yourself, and to realize that you are already whole. Loneliness fades when we stop resisting the present moment and start embracing it as an opportunity for growth. As Eckhart Tolle reminds us, true peace isn't found in the past or the future, but in the stillness of now. So, the next time you find yourself alone, don't rush to fill the silence. Sit with it. Listen. You might just find that solitude was never emptiness, but a door to something deeper. Let's keep growing together on this path of self-discovery. Subscribe to our channel for daily inspiration and grow as a person. Comment the word "now" and like the video to show your support. Also, consider sharing this video with someone who could use some encouragement to slow down and enjoy life more fully.